Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We all have a certain period of our lives where nothing seems to go right and we hit rock bottom, and the words rock bottom for us has elements of our name being tarnished, and nothing can be more serious than that. And then we wonder, why now and why me? Now, many things that we do wrong in our lives, and we do many wrongs, but the worst fear is to lose our reputation and to lose a standing in society and to be given a certain character which actually does not truly represent us. However, it does happen where sometimes we face challenges all our lives through scandals and disrepute, and one after the other during different stages of our life, during different phases of our life, we have to face it. Sometimes we have to face it in school, sometimes we face it in college when we are doing our grad studies, sometimes we face it during our love life, during a dating period, and in fact that's when we face a certain reputation, how others see us, and then reputation as a family person or reputation in a work area also. So one is different phases of our life. We may face issues or challenges where we may be called out to stand by or prove our character or to keep a reputation intact, and sometimes it could be different areas of a life, if not the phases. For example, sometimes we may face more challenges in terms of facing disrepute or scandal or name calling or accusations or finger pointing at us at work. Sometimes it could be at home, sometimes it could be in relations, in friends, sometimes it could be in general society. While at home people love us and care for us and stand by us, and this is one of the most tough periods of our lives when we face that. But sometimes we face that through a long period of life. Sometimes we have specific phases when we go through it more often than not. So are there any placements in the horoscopes because of which we become vulnerable to attacks being made at a reputation, at a character, at a standing in society, and then we have to face those accusations and then also to defend ourselves? And apart from placements, are there any periods where we will face these attacks more than the others? And what are those placements and what can we do? So firstly, all of us are given that stage, that phase, that area of life where we will have to face challenges, where we will be called out in terms of our character, in terms of our personality, in terms of our reputation, and we will have to face that period, defend us, and also sometimes defend ourselves and extricate ourselves out of it. What are those placements? What are the planetary energies which are responsible? What are the periods? And what do we do about it? Firstly, all of us are given the boon of Rahu, and Rahu is a planet which is very unique in its energies, because it brings that uniqueness, that unusualness by virtue of its placement. So wherever Rahu is placed in your chart, that is the starting point of where you may face scandals, disrepute. Why is it so? Because Rahu is a planet of smoky screen, which means it will not allow people to see the actual you. Wherever Rahu is placed, about that part, for example, if Rahu is placed in the 5th house, then you may have a bad reputation about being a bad father, for example, or a bad mother, or you could also have a reputation of being the father or mother of bad children, because the 5th house involved. Or you could face a disrepute because of doing some mishandling of your funds, your stocks, shares, or because the 5th house is also the house of public performances and what you like to do and what you love to do and your hobbies. Then while you are in an area of performing and performing in front of audiences, being an actor, you may also face some scandals or disrepute about how you are carrying yourself in that art, in the performance of the art, whether you are diplomatic, whether you are manipulative, whether you are slimy, or you do some wrongdoings. The other thing could also be because of the 5th house, you face scandals or disrepute because of romance life, because the 5th house is also the house of romance. So in a nutshell, wherever Rahu is placed in any attribute of that particular house and that sign, you will face some scandal, some issue, some name calling, some finger pointing at some instance of your life, and none of us can escape that. The reason being is that our lives have various stages, various phases and various areas. For example, in the 4 ashramas, whether it's brahmacharya or grihastha ashram or vanaprastha or sannyasa, and each one of them you will have different challenges. For example, during your domestic life, you may face issues about relationship, about how you handle your spouse. Yes, your character may be under duress if you are not able to carry your domestic life well. Friends, family members who know you may point fingers at you if you are not a good spouse, if you don't remember your various occasions, if you don't turn up for parties on time, if you don't organize the parties that you throw in your residence in a good way, if you mistreat people when you call them over to their house. So there are various things where your domestic life as a family person, as a social person, can be under duress. Then the same thing can happen at work. It could happen when you're doing your hobbies. It could happen when you're dealing with your children. It could happen during your dating life. So various phases of life you could be going through different tests, and a life is supposed to go through different tests of different areas, and for each one of our lives we have a different area where we will be tested in terms of how do we handle scandals, how do we handle disrepute, how do we handle name calling, how do we handle finger pointing. And hence all of us will have to go through that stage in various phases, various areas of life, and Rahu is a primary pointer towards that area that may throw up those challenges. And Rahu being the planet which puts a smoke screen, the smoke screen could be in front of others, how they see you. They may not see the actual you, and your reputation may be of somebody who is not the actual you, and therefore it's a struggle to salvage your image when your image is tarnished for something which you have not done or you have been accused wrongly of. The other thing is that you are not able to see how people see you, and there is a smoky screen in front of your eyes, and you feel nah, people like me, people respect me. However, behind your back people may be looking at you differently. Are you absolutely sure that all the people love you, they hold you in high respect, and there is nothing that they speak behind your back, ill about your back, ill about you, about the area of your life? Think about it, and think about wherever Rahu is placed, none of those attributes of your life have ever thrown a challenge at you in terms of how you prove yourself, or facing a scandal, facing a disrepute, facing an accusation, facing a finger being pointed, facing a complaint about that house. Think about it. So Rahu's placement will definitely give you a challenge because of you either not being able to see how others see you, and you are defending yourself and you're carrying on in the same demeanor, not realizing that you are just adding fuel to the fire and you are tarnishing your own image. So wherever Rahu is, there is definitely a challenge for you not being able to put the right step forward, and for others to see you in the proper light. So that is one challenge. Second is your lagna. Whenever you face any challenge in life, the greatest challenge comes when your lagna is afflicted. And if a lagna is afflicted, which also stands for what your general reputation in society is, how respected you are, how people see you, then sometimes the whole life could be where you are defending yourself and you are extricating yourself out of one challenge, one issue, and then you fall into the other. So the lagna is very important. If more malefics get involved in the lagna, if there are more aspects of malefics on the lagna, Rahu placed with any malefic in the lagna will surely give you a challenge throughout your life of trying to salvage your name, trying to work hard for your reputation, and not being able to command the appreciation and the respect that you truly deserve and you should get. So that is definitely a challenge. And it's not only about Rahu. Any two malefics in an inimical sign, they get into the Lagna, your reputation is at stake, and so you need to be more careful. The other house which is responsible for your reputation, apart from your 5th house which we talked about, that is specific areas of the 5th house, is the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of dealing with others on a day-to-day basis, of working with teams, working with anybody who is right now opposite to you at work or in life, including your spouse, including your partners, including any business partnership that you may have. So if your 7th house is strongly afflicted, then you may face challenges with respect to your spouse. Either the spouse will keep having allegations on you, or having suspicions about you, or complaining about you, or having some grievances about you, which tries you may not be able to salvage yourself out of, you may not be able to explain, you may not be able to prove yourself, and it is like banging your head against a wall. And the same thing could happen in your teams at work. If you're having a team which you work with, there could be a challenge there. In a partnership, you could always be under the scan of your business partner. The business partner may not be able to completely trust you, and if anything goes wrong, you are worried that my business partner should not see me in different light. So that is another thing which is critical. The 7th house, where how people may see you, how people may look at you, how people may overall see your reputation. Then the 4th house, apart from the 1st, 5th, 7th, is the 10th house. The 10th house is the standing in society, specifically related to your career or what you do. So what you do, what your career is, what work you do, and your general stance in society about your work related, more work related, but general reputation is your 10th house. General standing in society, general designation in society is the 10th house, especially connected to work. If that is strongly afflicted, then you could face challenges or scandals at work, where some of the other allegation is you face and your reputation is under tarnish. For example, if 1st house and 10th house both have malefics, then it could be that you are given a reputation of somebody who's hard to deal with, is very aggressive, puts other people down, is rude, is a bad team worker, is a bad boss, is a bad colleague, is bad in your work. There could be many things that you face. And whatever houses 10th house shares energies with, for example, if 10th and 6th house share energies and both of them have afflicted, then you could have people behind your back at work. 6th house is related to career. They pointing fingers, they working behind your back, and they spoiling your chances. And then what happens is you spoil your chances of growth at work. You spoil your chances of rising high. You spoil your chances of getting promoted. You spoil your chances of getting the right designation, the right role. And hence there is always a struggle which is going on, especially if 10th house is afflicted or 6th house is afflicted, and if they are sharing energies. And then the 11th house. If the 11th house is afflicted, then in general society, you could face a challenge. People, whether at work, whether in your neighborhood, whether in your friend circle, any network, people who you are connected with, even acquaintances. 11th house is the house of that reputation in society, your social connections. If your 11th house is badly afflicted, then you could face challenges in general society, what your reputation is and how you are carrying yourself and what kind of a person you are. So the more Lagna in the 11th house get afflicted, then it is a bigger challenge for you. The more Lagna in 10th house get afflicted, work related. Lagna in 7th house, relationship related. Only Lagna, generally in various walks of life, you will never know which will come at you at what period of time, but you could face that challenge. The more malefics get involved in a house, any of these, there will be a challenge. Now to a lesser extent, but the challenge may come when afflictions are in the 2nd house, 3rd house, 4th house and so on. In the 2nd house, it could be about money. In the 3rd house, it could be about your communication, your branding, your marketing, your self-enterprise, whether you're lazy, whether you're hardworking or not. About the 4th house, it could be how you manage your assets, how you have gotten your assets. You may have a bad reputation of using ill means to get more wealth. and get more houses or get land. You could be given the reputation of being a usurper. So you could be maligned. Your reputation could be maligned about the material resources that you have collected, the riches you have collected. Sometimes people may think that there is ill-gotten wealth. About the 12th house, it could be something which you don't even know about. It is hidden from you and people may point a finger at you. It could also be about how much of a spendthrift you are, about bad habits that you have, or bed pleasure that you get into. So unnecessarily you may get a bad reputation there, or you may get a bad reputation of being too imaginary, too airy-fairy, not being practical, not having feet on the ground, not being able to think reasonably. You are given the reputation of being impractical. Now above all of this, one of the houses that can create most challenges is about the 8th house too. But let's start with one shloka, and there are various shlokas I want to share with you about your reputation in society, scandal that you may face, and then let's deep dive into it more. A shloka in the Parashar says, if the ascendant lord is in the 8th, the native will be an accomplished scholar, be sickly, thievish, be given to much anger, be a gambler, and will join others' wives. The ascendant lord, whenever it goes into the 8th house, it could carry a reputation of not having the right conduct, and it could be the wrong conduct could also be about how you see others, and you could also be given, you may also get the reputation of either being a playboy or indulgence out of your relationship with others outside. It could be about how you manage your wealth, because 8th house is also other people's wealth. So you could get a reputation that you want to grab other people's wealth. You could have a ill repute about your inheritance. You may face challenges about shared property. You may face complaints from whoever you're holding the joint property in, whether in your spouse's name or your children's name, that you want more or you have an eye on their property. In terms of inheritances, parents may feel that you are somebody who's greedy and who wants more, and you are always looking at their wealth. So different reputations may come in. 8th house is also the house of taxes, audits. So you may face unnecessary scandals and bad reputation during audits of your department, audits of your leadership, or audits of your taxes. Even in spite of filing the tax returns well, you could face notices, you could face issues, you could face being called by to explain why you have not filed your taxes well, or of dodging taxes or not filing your taxes well. So there are various attributes of the 8th house that may come by if the Lagna Lord gets into the 8th. And not only about these, in general, whenever the Lagna Lord gets into the 8th house, especially in an inimical sign, then 8th house is also the house of ill repute, obstacles, upheavals. You will find that your reputation from time to time may go through upheavals, may go through challenges, and you will have to stand by your reputation more, you will have to defend your reputation more than the placement of the Lagna Lord in any other house. Then another planet which is responsible for giving us reputation is the Sun. Sun is our pride, Sun is our self-respect. If Sun is strongly afflicted, then especially if it's getting connected to the Lagna, then this is definitely a challenge, because Lagna is afflicted and Sun, which represents your self-respect and your pride and your reputation, that is also afflicted. Then you have a task at hand. Sun getting afflicted in any house, bad reputation about that house can come about, and you will have to work harder towards defending your self-respect. The challenge for you is sometimes you defend your self-respect too much and too hard, and other allegation which may come on you is that you're too aggressive and you're too defensive, you don't listen, and you are a bad listener and you don't want to change. So you need to be very careful wherever Sun is placed in a house, and if there are any afflictions on it, Sun is eclipsed, Sun is debilitated, Sun is placed with a bad malefic, or bad aspects of a malefic fall on the Sun, then the challenge on the reputation about the attributes of the house that Sun is placed in will definitely be there. For example, if Sun is placed afflicted in the 9th house, then you may face scandals about your learning. You may face challenges with teachers. Teachers may feel that you're too lazy, you're not a hardworking student, you're not studious, you're not bright, About projects, you may get less marks, you may get less appreciation, and sometimes you feel you work too hard but you don't get the appreciation and the attention that you deserve from teachers. Same thing could also be from your father. The father may think you are good for nothing, especially his son is afflicted in the 9th house. Then father may feel that you are a good for nothing and you are lazy and you are not hardworking and you may not do anything in life. The other thing is that particular relationship may also bring you a scandal. If sun is afflicted, especially in the 9th house, then you may face a reputation of having a bad father. Your father's reputation could be sullied and you have to face allegations, or you face issues where people say, hey, this guy is that guy's father who did this and this. So that is another thing that you need to face. The same thing with moon. If moon is strongly afflicted, on the emotional side you may face challenges because there are allegations, but the reputation of the mother could also be under tarnish, or the reputation of how you think could be under tarnish. Somebody may think that you are a pervert, that you are a jerk, or you don't think rightly. Your thinking is not right and your reputation is sullied because of not thinking right, and hence your character being put under question. The Jataka Parijata says, if there is a conjunction of the Sun, Venus and Saturn, then the native will be of bad reputation and will be haughty and insolent. Now, being haughty and insolent itself is a bad reputation, and if people see you as that, obviously that is not a great reputation to have. And Sun, Saturn and Venus, because Saturn and Sun both are malefics, being conjoined by Venus is a challenge. Venus is also your reputation, but the reputation is more related to materialistic pleasures and sensual pleasures. Sun, Saturn and Venus may give you a reputation about how your sexual habits are and your sexual energies are, and the opposite gender may not be able to trust you easily. People may not be able to trust you with their wealth, people may not be able to trust you with their resources. So people may find it difficult to lend you their car, people may find it difficult to lend you money, bank loans may be tough for you, relationships may be difficult to manage where your partner may not be able to trust you easily, and in spite of you being somebody of good character, there will be times when you have to explain to your better half or the person whom with you are, whether you are dating or in a committed relationship, that you are somebody who is a good person. So that challenge will definitely be there once Sun, Saturn and Venus come together. So some difficult conjunctions can also bring you challenges. The Hora says that bad reputation may also come from the Apakirti Yoga. This yoga is formed when the 10th house is occupied by the Sun and Saturn, who should join malefic amsas or be aspected by malefics. So if Sun and Saturn go in tougher or malefic navamsas, that means in the Navmansh they will be seen in inimical navamsas to themselves. For example, in the Navamsha, if Sun is seen in the Libra sign or Saturn is seen in the Aries sign, then too there will be challenges if in the Lagna chart they are placed together in the 10th house. Then the native will face unnecessary disrepute, challenges to his stature, and many times the higher and senior role may come to him with difficulty, or the responsibilities may come to him with difficulty because of having a reputation of not being a good follower, not being a good boss, not being a good leader, not being a team manager. So Sun and Saturn going into any conjunction in the 10th house or in the 1st, 5th, 7th or 11th or even 9th will create more challenges about the attributes of that house. Sun is stronger in the 5th house, definitely Sun is stronger in the Lagna also, but it should not be an inimical sign. Now we talked about Rahu at the start. Some combinations of Rahu, especially with another malefic, can also throw challenges at you, or those conjunctions which Rahu is not good in with. Let's look at one of them. Madhurya manha nischa bandhana chapra makarama Parashum jivaha nischa raho sukshmagate dhvaje. Meaning, if Rahu and Ketu are in a conjunction, then during the dasha and antardasha of Rahu and Ketu, one may face issues of politeness, loss of reputation, imprisonment, cold-heartedness, loss of public money. So if Rahu is not placed well and with a malefic, or if Ketu is with a malefic, then during the dasha and antardasha of Rahu and Ketu, either ways one can face even imprisonment because of those challenges. Of course, disrepute will always be following. Then Rahu and Moon. Rahu puts a shadow of doubt on the mind when Rahu and Moon get along. Rahu is not able to get you to think clearly. Rahu gets you to think wrong. Rahu takes you on a different tangent. Your thinking is not right. Your emotions are not in right place, and you face challenges when Rahu and Moon come together. This shloka is about that. Udvek kalahau chinta manha nirma hridya bhayam pitru vilplata dehe vidhorave pratyantare bhaveta. Meaning, Rahu and Moon in conjunction, when Rahu is not placed well, will create excitement, quarrels, worries, loss of reputation, fear and distress to father. Rahu's placement is important, especially if it should not be with a malefic or in a conjunction with the Moon. During the dasha of Rahu and Moon, the challenges will be higher. In general, this is not an easy conjunction to deal with, and during the dasha and antardasha of Rahu and Moon, obviously the challenges will be much more. But during the transits of Rahu, when the Rahu transits from one side to the other, then to the first cusp 2-3 months and the last 2-3 months will definitely throw up challenges. And during the dasha and antardasha definitely would be there. But in general, throughout your life, because of not being able to think clearly, not able to see clearly, you will invite unnecessary challenges, complaints, finger pointing, and there will be many times when you'll have to salvage your reputation and you'll have to defend your reputation. Then comes Mars Ketu. Mars and Ketu are a strong conjunction of giving up and a surgery being done, a cut-off. So Mars and Ketu in the Lagna is a cut-off of various things in your life. It could be from your health, it could be some injury to the head, it could be stitches to your head or a mark on your head, or a mark on reputation also because of Mars and Ketu. So it's a sudden blow which comes in without warning. The blow comes to you. Till yesterday you have name, fame, reputation, everything, and suddenly some scandal comes from somewhere of mismanaging money, fudging data, or a sexual harassment case. You just don't know where it comes from, and many a times you are at the receiving end of not having done that, but the reputation is swelled and you have to work very hard with Mars and Ketu together in the Lagna for reputation to yourself. So if Mars and Ketu are in the second house, it could be about money. Mars and Ketu in the third house, it's about your communication and how you communicate, whether you lie, whether you tell the right thing, whether you market yourself right. Mars and Ketu in the 10th house will be in generally what kind of a colleague you are, what kind of a worker you are, and so on. And then any planet with Ketu, especially Venus with Ketu. Ketu is a planet of absorbing all the attributes, especially the positive attributes of the planet that it is placed with. So Venus being an important part of your reputation, if Venus and Ketu come together, then too there could be challenges, there could be issues, especially of your reputation, your standing, your character, and your name and fame, and generally how you're respected in society. Jivitatmaye Syoha Nirdhana Dhanya Parikshaya Tyaga Mog Dhananina Suya Shukra Pragate Dhvaje. When Venus and Ketu are in conjunction, loss of life, wealth and reputation, and only some money is left for charities and sustenance can be seen. Various placements can give you various challenges which can invite scandals, which can invite reputation, which can invite your name calling on you, or fingers being pointed at you, and you having to defend your reputation, defend yourself against scandals. One has to be careful, especially when the Lagna is afflicted and 5th house is afflicted, 7th house is afflicted, 10th house and 11th house is afflicted. Then you will have to defend yourself more and be more precise in how you deal with the attributes of the house whenever the strong afflictions of these houses is there. Wherever you have Rahu placed, and if there is any malefic aspect on Rahu, be clear about that house, be very careful about that house. Rahu in conjunction with any malefic in any house, that too is a challenging position with the attributes about the house, and the house that the conjunction is, and the sign that it is placed in, and what relationship that conjunction is in. For example, Rahu with a malefic in the 4th house, then about house, domestic affairs, mother could be involved. Rahu and malefic in the 11th house, it is in general society, your friends, what kind of company you keep, that could be under reputation and so forth. So see what conjunctions are coming together with malefics, whichever house more malefics are placed. Rahu is with a malefic, or Rahu is in a house alone but with the aspect of a malefic, that is the challenge for you. Any house which has malefics and bad aspects, or a debilitated planet or a combusted planet and with a malefic, is also a challenge for you, and dasha, antardasha and the transits of the planet and every now and then could be an issue. Then the 8th house is also the house of reputation or loss of reputation. So be careful if there are more malefics on the 8th house during the dasha, antardasha and transit of the planets which rule that 8th house or a place in the 8th house. That could also be an upheaval time for you in general, but also to your reputation and to your pride and to your respect. Then some nakshatras are also which are at the forefront, which could bring you challenges, especially if Rahu or Venus or Saturn get placed in those nakshatras. Especially nakshatra like Bharani can bring you loss of reputation. It could be because of the opposite gender, it could be because of material resources that you're chasing or you're collecting. It could be because of money, house, wealth, your habits, about alcohol, about any other addiction, about the opposite gender. So Bharani does have the tendency to bring that, especially if it's the ruling nakshatra, moon gets placed there with another malefic or under the aspect of malefic. Similarly for Jyeshtha, Ashlesha, Ardra nakshatra also these challenges can be seen, and to an extent even Mula nakshatra is there. Mula nakshatra however will give you the chance of rising from the ashes. There may be a time your reputation could be completely tarnished, but then you salvage it after a lot of hard work, and then you salvage your reputation and come back in society. Sometimes you see some cases in history like Michael Phelps, the winner of 8 gold medals in the Olympics in swimming, and then he took a break, and then he got caught in scandals, alcohol, and he got a bad name, but then he worked hard, salvaged himself, and the next time he came back and he won another heap of, I think, 6 gold medals in the next Olympics and salvage his name. So the opportunity is also given to you to salvage your name, and it is not only a one-way street, but then it becomes much more harder and becomes tougher, hard work to salvage your name. So the best thing when you have malefics in a house, or Rahu involved with a malefic, or getting aspected by a malefic, Sun and Saturn, Sun and Ketu, Rahu and Moon, Rahu and Ketu, Ketu and Moon, all these combinations, then be careful about those associations, and better to be safe than sorry or to be salvaging. So best thing is to carry your name and be very careful of how you carry yourself, what things you do, what your reputation is, what kind of language you use. However, you may still face challenges, you may still face issues. If in general you are a person of high repute and you carry your character well and people see you in good light, then it could be a passing phase and you can salvage your reputation easily. However, in general, if you are not careful about your attributes, your habits, your communication, your language, whether you are a person who keeps his word and promises or not, keeps his commitment or not, then if your general reputation is tarnished, then when the phase comes of these planets or the important transits come, then it is a battle on hand for you. Why get into that, and why to get into a situation where you have to salvage your pride and your self-respect? So always carry yourself with dignity, live a life of principles, don't chase materialism. Wherever you feel you are at the borderline of doing the right, or which is legally right but ethically there is a question, keep away from it. Then the spiritual ascension is easier, your reputation is not tarnished, and your life in this world is easier, and without going through the frustration and anxieties of facing those unnecessary allegations. So friends, look into your own horoscopes and be wise and lead your life better, and avoid those kind of challenging situations which these placements can throw you into. If you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.